The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. A series of earthquakes was felt in Occidental Mindoro earlier this morning. To tell us more, we have with us FIVOC's OIC, Dr. Renato Solidum Jr., joining us over the line. Good morning, sir. Sir Solidum, how many earthquakes in total rocked Occidental Mindoro at around 6 this morning?
Well, after the magnitude 5.3 earthquake at 5:59 this morning, there were more than 25 earthquakes that were recorded by and located in Sablayan as of this time. And there are other smaller earthquake events that are not really that strong enough to be located, but most likely coming from the same area. So these aftershocks are expected after a moderate-sized earthquake event, such as what happened just before 6 o'clock this morning.
All right, and is it an earthquake-prone area around Occidental Mindoro? Meaning, is it a normal occurrence to experience this many tremors over such a short period of time, or is this out of the ordinary, sir?
Well, if a relatively strong earthquake would occur, then a series of earthquake events can really follow. So this would be an expected pattern after a strong earthquake. The magnitude 5.3 earthquake was felt at around intensity 5 in Sablayan, and this moderate-sized earthquake event was expected to be followed by aftershock. So this is a normal event. However, if you look at the earthquake occurrences in the Mindoro area, most of the earthquakes occur offshore, but this time this would be on land. So there would be an active fault that would be generating an earthquake in that area.
All right, so just to confirm if I heard you right, Dr. Solidum, did you say that there is a active fault line in that area? Can you tell us more about that?
Well, once there is an earthquake event, whether there is a map fault or not, if there is a series of earthquake events in an area, the earthquake events by itself are caused by an active fault.
All right. Having said that, can we definitely expect more tremors to come?
Well, there can still be aftershocks after this morning, and this hopefully can be a reminder to everyone, not only in the area, but of course all over the country, that strong earthquakes from time to time would happen. So we really need to be prepared and make sure that our houses, the buildings that we occupy, are strong enough to withstand an earthquake. Plus, we know what to do during an earthquake event.
Right. In terms of damage, Dr. Solidum, you did mention this one occurred on land instead of offshore. Having said that, are you expecting that there was more damage caused by this earthquake or the series of earthquakes?
Well, we are expecting that there can be damage. However, the strongest intensity so far reported to us in Sablayan, but hopefully they can go around the area and check, was only intensity 5. So at intensity 5, no significant damage is expected. Perhaps in weak structures or very old structures there can be. So far we have not received any damage yet.
All right, a very comforting thought. Thank you so much for your time and for joining us on this Sunday. FIVOC's OIC, Dr. Renato Solidum Jr. over the phone. Thank you, sir, and stay safe.
Thank you.
In other news, more party lists have filed their certificates of candidacies or COCs this morning. We have Maricel Halili joining us live from Pasay City for more details. Mase, anything interesting that happened this morning? Any new party lists? Anyone interesting filing today?
Hi, Sean. It's actually a slow day today. I don't know if it's because it's a weekend. As of now, there are only 2 party list groups that actually filed their certificates of candidacy. The first filer is the Abono party list. The second filer is the One UTAP, or United Transportation Alliance. Well, their first nominee held a press conference here earlier. His name is Ezequiel Longares. He said that the priority of their party list group is to pass a law which will provide ayuda to ordinary drivers and operators. They also want to ensure that each ordinary driver and operators will have an insurance to make sure that they will be protected. Um, uh, this morning, there is also an aspirant for senator. His name is Sahira, but he was rejected by the screening committee of COMELEC. I think he filled up an incorrect form, so he has to come back to refile his candidacy. So far, based on the data provided by COMELEC spokesperson James Jimenez, as of yesterday, only one aspirant filed its COC for presidency, one for vice presidency. Of course, as we all know, it's Senator Bongo, 5 for senators, and 9 for party list groups. So far, we heard some prominent names who are actually planning to file their certificates of candidacy today, but I'd rather not mention their names as of now. I think we have to wait until they have already filed their COCs. Sean?
All right. Well, it's early yet. It's only just past 10 a.m. So still a long ways to go, even on this slow Sunday. Thank you so much for your time and that update. Maricel Halili joining us live from Pasay City. Thanks, Maricel. And Maguindanao Governor by Mangudadatu denies news reports that she will be joining Mayor Isko Moreno's Aksyon Demokratiko party. Governor Mangudadatu clarified that she and their political allies in Maguindanao took an oath with the Nationalista Party and their local political party, Umpungan ng Magpamalasakit. She added that they have always been vocal of their support to President Duterte, Senator Bongo, and their allies. The governor expressed her disappointment that media outlets with a big national audience would report unverified news. Because of this, Mangudadatu is demanding an apology from the management of news websites that have ran the false story. One former Binyan City accountant was ambushed and shot dead yesterday. The victim, 63-year-old Virgilio Di Marana, was allegedly a, quote, kingmaker in their barangay. And that's because of his purported reputation as a good leader. According to Binyan Police's initial investigation, the incident occurred past 12 noon. At that time, the victim had just left a meeting with other city officials and leaders under incumbent Mayor Arman Dimagila. Di Marana was rushed to the hospital but was declared dead on arrival. Recall that the barangay captain, who was a relative of Di Marana, was also shot dead last year. The police is now looking at politics as a motive for the killing. Vice President Leni Robredo is expected to finally make a decision on her election plans this week. Isang Bayan convener Armin Luistro said Robredo herself will be announcing her election plans before the end of COC filing on Friday. Luistro also said that this could happen on October 5, the same date that Robredo was proclaimed as the Liberal Party's vice presidential bet in 2016. And the Delta variant has caused worldwide COVID-19 related deaths to surpass 5 million. Reuters reports that while it took over a year for the COVID-19 death toll to hit 2.5 million, the next 2.5 million deaths were recorded in just under 8 months. More than half of all reported deaths worldwide in the last 7 days were from the United States, Russia, Brazil, Mexico, and India. South America is still the region with the highest death toll in the world, accounting for about 21% of all reported deaths. This is followed by North America and Eastern Europe. On the other hand, India has reported a decrease in COVID-related deaths, coming from an average of 4,000 deaths a day. India is now logging less than 300 daily fatalities as it ramps up its vaccination campaign. The Women's March is back in the United States, and this time around, the focus is on abortion rights, ahead of what could be a decisive Supreme Court session. Let's find out more from this Bloomberg Quick Take.
The Women's March is back with a focus on abortion rights ahead of what could be a decisive Supreme Court session. Thousands of protesters took to the streets on Saturday in more than 600 planned demonstrations across the country. The Rally for Abortion Rights was planned by Women's March organizers in response to a Texas law that went into effect last month. The law banned abortions after cardiac activity is detected, or about 6 weeks, which is before most women know they're pregnant. The Supreme Court refused to block the Texas law by a one-vote margin, but agreed to hear a challenge to Roe v. Wade in December. The Supreme Court legalized the right for women to have abortions in 1973. In December, they will review the legality of a Mississippi law that bans abortions after 15 weeks, nearly 10 weeks before a fetus can survive outside the womb. The first Women's March took place in January 2017, the day after former President Donald Trump's inauguration. It's considered to be the largest single-day protest in U.S. history, with millions of marchers and hundreds of rallies across the country and the world.
Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. Occidental Mindoro felt 31 consecutive earthquakes today in the same area, with the strongest one at magnitude 5.6. 36 areas across 20 barangays in Baguio City are under lockdown after a surge in cases. Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong said Baguio City now has over 4,400 active infections, with around 260 average daily cases.
I have the honor to welcome to the United
U.S. President Joe Biden lauded Filipino-American nurses, saying that PhilAmps have continued to serve and sacrifice during one of the darkest years in U.S. history. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 12 noon as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I am Sean Yao. Masks on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.